welcome to the fourth and final week of the e-course, How to Have the Willpower to Achieve All Your Goals. During this whole course, we train attention, relaxation, the control of the body. We learn how to start to control a few habits, how to deal with other people in a more skillful way, and this is all part of the will training. I wanted to give you the more expanded training I can in these short 4 weeks, but of course a lot is missing. I will briefly address this issue in the end. However, if you follow all the instructions of this course, during the 4 weeks I can pretty much assure that your will be stronger than 90% of the people you know. Now, all that is left is to keep up the practicing and following some of the life principles I share with you. The will is like a muscle. If you don't use your will for long, it starts to get weak. If you use it often, you'll get stronger. So, well, after this course, keep that in mind and continue doing some of the exercise from time to time so that you don't lose the benefits that you received. You will really know which exercise to do on this point, because you'll start to get aware of which part of you is getting weaker and stronger, so you'll know which exercise to increase. Another important concept for the will is called leaning in. This is from Stuart Wilde as well. We constantly lean into life, yearning, dreaming, pining. We are often dissatisfied with what we are and with what we have. Instead, we seek someone or something to lift us up. We want to be declared special. We want life easy, delivered on a plate. And in the process of leaning in, we trash our emotional balance and drift from one gratification to another. We expect things, we expect reactions from others, we expect others will be there for us. We really aren't self-sufficient and we're always wanting more. We lean into goals by saying that the goal will change our life. We lean into things thinking that they will change anything in our happiness. We lean into persons by the very same reason. And if our happiness is dependent on a person, then we will never be happy. We exist at the edge of our balance and ability to control. And the initial point in consolidating our will is to discipline ourselves to stop leaning. When we are the most desperate to lean on people, that's when we should exercise control. When we lean psychologically or emotionally on people or toward them, it's a sure sign of insecurity. It makes others feel uncomfortable. They resent the weight that we are laying on them and they will react by denying us. They don't like self-indulgence, and our insecurity reminds them of their own vulnerability. It really distracts them and infuriates them. Remember that this does not mean that we cannot ask for help. We can, but there is a difference between asking for help and constantly leaning on others emotionally, demanding that they heal our inadequacy or insecurity. How can we have a strong will when we are constantly leaning in on others? So the next time that you see yourself eagerly waiting for someone or desperately leaning into someone or wanting something very badly, step back, notice, be aware of what is happening and stop doing it. The most important thing is really to be aware of what is happening. Be aware when you are leaning in to things, to goals, to persons. When you are aware, then you can control. If you are not aware that you are leaning into all of these things, then it's impossible for you to control it. The next concept is needing. And this concept goes along the same lines of leaning in. When you need things from others, you are dependent of them. This can be financially, emotionally, physical, and spiritual. We can be dependent of our partner to give us the emotional validation that we need. Then we get frustrated with him or her if he or she is on a bad day and doesn't validate us or seek to our needs. We can be physically dependent from sex and get frustrated when we don't get it. We may be spiritually dependent on some enlightened guru, and we will fail to realize that our true spiritual path must not be dependent upon a guru. We can also be financially dependent on someone, either our family members or partner, and this will never bring good results in the long run. So the key point here is to create your own emotional, physical, and spiritual and financial independence. The less you require of others, the less disappointment that you'll get. Be independent in all ways and create genuine and unselfish connection with others. Okay, so now let's start with the final round of exercises. Exercise 9 is called the nerves training. All you have to do is stand straight in a quiet room and pass through a regular series of exercises without weights. First, you move the right arm slowly and evenly directly up from the shoulder 6 times. Do it 6 times and keep your mind on the work. Do it slowly and keep your mind in whatever you are doing. Next, from the shoulder directly out in front, 6 times again. Then, from the shoulder directly out to the right, 6 times. And with the right hand at arm's length above the shoulder, swing the whole arm in a semicircle, arm straight, directly down in front, bringing hand to leg without bending the body 6 times again. From the original position down to the right side of the leg 6 times. And with the right arm extended at the right side, straight out from the shoulder, swing it around in front until the hand is directly before the face 6 times. Then, with the right hand and arm, reverse all the above movements. So now repeat the same movements with the left hand 6 times. With the left hand and arm, reverse all movements. Remember, these movements must be made deliberately and slowly. Attend to each exercise with the whole mind. Do not permit wandering thoughts. Put the entire thought of yourself into every act. Be really all conscious of whatever you are doing. And above all, keep the sense of feeling present during each movement. Thrust the will out into the very muscles. Remember, the point of this exercise is not the movements in itself. It's your focus on the slow and deliberate movement. This can teach you to have patience and develop the stability of your nerves. Do this exercise once a day for the next week. And the final exercise is called cold water shower. And this is one is, like the name says, very easy to describe. Just take a cold water shower each morning. Back when I was starting to train my will, I took cold showers every morning, and the main problem was that I was living in cold mountains at that time. So each shower was really, really painful. The water was really freezing cold. And after that first winter, I knew for a fact that I could take that cold water showers forever without blinking. My will skyrocketed. Doing things that are not pleasant or easy for you, but brings you a benefit, is a great way to achieve an iron will. So, and how long should you keep doing it? Well, the answer for this is for as long as it takes you to be fully convinced that you are able to do it anytime, anywhere, whenever you want. If this sounds really ridiculous, the idea of taking a cold water shower, good. This means that you have a perfectly healthy and rational mind. But the reason why I'm recommending this to you is because cold showers have been used in some cultures as a really good exercise for purification, curing disease, revitalizing, and one thing is certain, it can certainly replace your morning cup of coffee. Paradoxically, aside from being a great way to start the day, it's also a great quick cure for insomnias. So, a few suggestions. When the cold water first hits you, it's a good idea to scream a bit. Maybe say a few of your favorite curse words like fuzz or shizzle. Don't hold it back, just let it go. Don't worry that no one will call you a little sissy for screaming when you're having a really cold shower. And remember, the colder the water, the better. And don't stop just after a few seconds. Make sure that you hold it for a few minutes, especially until you don't feel the cold anymore, and just get used to the cold water. If you're having a really tough time to get into the cold shower, start with hot water and then change it into cold. Although the best way is to really jump in there directly to the cold water. Make sure that you get out of the shower into a heated room, especially in the winter time. And as a variation of this exercise, you can switch between cold and hot water. Stay 1 minute at a time with hot water, then switch to cold for another minute, then switch again to hot. And one special notice is required. If you have any special health condition, talk to your doctor before trying this exercise. Especially if you have a heart condition like angina or high blood pressure, you should really avoid this exercise. Also, older people should avoid it, except if you have been doing it already for a long time. Cold water cures have been common in several cultures around the world, including India and China. Traditional Chinese medicine and Ayurvedic medicine, which is the Indian traditional medicine, have long used cold water therapy to heal diseases. In Russia, they actually swim in the cold and sometimes frozen lakes, not only for showering, because it's good for good health. It's called the Ivanov therapy. The cold water shower is also a purification practice done by practitioners of Shinto, which is a Japanese religion. And this practicing is Maisogi, where they would take cold water showers before the sunrise and after sunset every day. This was a purification ritual on a spiritual level. If for some reason you will decide to do this on a more expanded time frame and not just for a week, you'll also have plenty of more benefits. Like the cold water shower brings blood to the capillaries, therefore increasing circulation throughout the body. It cleans the circulatory system, reduces blood pressure of internal organs, provides flushing for the organs and provides a new supply of blood, strengthens the parasympathetic and sympathetic nervous systems, contracts the muscles to eliminate toxins and poisonous waste, strengthens the mucous membranes, which help resist hay fever, allergies, cold, coughs. Although there is no documented evidence, people who take cold water showers regularly also say that they never have colds and that it definitely helps with panic attacks and depression. I would take a cold water shower over a cup of coffee any day of the week. And now let's go with the final round of the wheel diseases. The first one is called weakness of the will. Weakness of the will is another will disease that is responsible by and large for many failures in life. Whether it will be to owning to a want, a feeling, desire, it really seems to be universal. There are many people who have lots of gigantic projects and things that they want to accomplish, yet they never do anything or even try to attempt to execute them. What is the cure? Well, it's very easy. Will training. Cultivate the sustained mental attitude of training the will. If you have reached this far, you are going on a good path. If you recognize yourself in this disease, practice this exercise on a double basis if you want to really heal yourself. Do double of the time of all will exercises in here to really make sure that you can make a strong will. It's all up to you, really. Weakness of the will is a disease that is very easily cured if you just do the things to train the will. It's like a muscle that needs to be strengthened, just like that. Perversity is the last will disease that we will learn. The perverse will is obstinate, but it's set in wrong directions. The will that is obstinate merely may be fixed by quitting, but perversity of will shows itself in twisting the dictates of both being obstinate and leading to places that are bad for you. Thousands of men are perversely willful when they fully know that the course they are pursuing is foolish and they can only bring bad consequences. The will is here it's strong, but it is used in a manner that is consciously wrong. What is the cure? Well, learn by your mistakes. Carefully study the consequence of your actions and carefully study your own life principles and moral. Here's the summary for the fourth and final week of the course. Okay, as instructed last week, you continue with exercise 1 and 8 each morning or night, but instead of doing exercise 4 after exercise 1, you do exercise 9, the one of nerves control that we have learned today. Then you keep up with the nervous control of exercise 2, you keep up with the small habits of exercise 3 and one bigger habit of 6, and you continue with exercise 7 of the need for speak. Then you start to gently keep up with the cold water shower each morning. And there is not a huge science in training the will. Basically, it's having enough strength of character to do what must be done and be able to do what you want it to be done. But there are some parts of the will that we haven't fully developed, like we haven't fully learned in this course, like the relationships with others, which is a very important part of the development of the will. But there isn't time for everything in a 4-week course, so I'll address it on a later course. In one sentence, this is about doing what you want to do instead of letting others ruling your life and getting others to follow you instead of the opposite. I started with some concepts as the leaning in and the needing and the silent talking, but there's really so much more to it. The other part, which was only briefly addressed on one exercise, was the developing of the senses. The development of the senses is of crucial importance for pillar 3 of charisma, but also for will development. The same goes for development of brain faculties. Habit control, goal achievement are crucial parts of the will training, and if you have done this course correctly, you should already have a comprehensive knowledge on how to use your will to do both of them. The last one of life principles and belief is designing a set of core principles you rule your life by. Most people end up on doing them unconsciously, but it would be good to know about this yourself consciously, because this way your decision-making process would be so much more easier. I have many exercises for all of these things, but each of them pretty much needs a whole course just for them. With this time, I'll share with you all my knowledge. Now, next week, I'll share with you another free course. Until then, enjoy this last week of the training of the will. See you then.